So when it comes down to training on the gymnastics rings, the first decision you have to make during the day is where you're going to hang the rings up at. And for me, today I decided to take a little trip out to Chinatown. It ended up being a good decision for a few different reasons. The weather was perfect today. This is probably my favorite place to train in the city, not only because it's a good place to hang up the gymnastics rings, but they also have some bars here as well. And the vibe and the people here are always cool. For whatever reason, I always have some good interactions whenever I train in Chinatown. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about a push-focused workout on the gymnastics ring. So today I'm going to be taking you guys along with me as I do a push workout on the gymnastics rings. And if you guys are new here, my name is JD. I'm a 40-year-old hybrid athlete and personal trainer. I use calisthenics, weightlifting, and running as my primary modalities of training. And as you guys can see, I warmed up on the jump rope. I actually did 3 sets on the jump rope, probably about 3 minutes each. And then I got into the first exercise. So the way I like to structure my workouts is I front load the most difficult exercises. Ring handstand push-ups are probably the most difficult exercise that I'm currently working on, especially from a strength and technicality standpoint. So not only does my nervous system have to work extra hard on this movement, but it also requires a lot of focus. So it tends to be a little bit easier for me to focus in the beginning of my workout. The more fatigued we get, the more our focus wanes. So I like to front load the most technical and the most strength demanding workouts. So as you guys can see, this is not only just a pressing, pushing movement. It's kind of an overhead press, but then it's also mixed in with a lot of bicep as well. So you're basically doing a pelican curl handstand push-up. This is one of the dope things about gymnastics rings is that there's so much more freedom in range of motion and so many different possibilities of movements that you can practice using the rings. You know, you combine something like a deep handstand push-up with pelican curls and you get a movement like this. And my ultimate goal is to master the reverse muscle up, which is essentially combining a backwards roll, pelican curl, and handstand push-up all into one movement. Now, for those of you who might be new to gymnastics rings training, a supplemental movement that you can put in place of a movement like this that'll still give you that overhead pressing movement along with the stability of the gymnastics rings. You can do some elevated pike push-ups using the gymnastics rings. And once you master that, you can actually do assisted handstand push-ups using the gymnastics rings. That's basically just wrapping your feet around the straps. But one of the key components I wanted to talk about in this video is how technique is everything when it comes down to progressing in calisthenics, especially when it comes down to progressing on the gymnastics rings. One of the things that you really need to be mindful of is making sure that your form, your technique, and your range of motion is all on point. You cannot move on to the next progression until you've mastered the progression that you're currently working on. All right, guys, so the next exercise that I'm working here is something that me and my boy Payday J like to call the Supreme Dip. And essentially what this is a bicep focused dip. So you're still in a pushing motion, but you're supinating that hand grip and activating the biceps while you're activating the chest and the front delts. That first set was a warm-up set, and this next set I'm going as deep as possible. Increasing that range of motion safely is something that I'm going to need for my main goal, which is that reverse muscle up. Also in the back of my mind, eventually I want to be able to do a Hefesto. So this is something where it's kind of like a partial rep of a Hefesto. And as you guys can see with this movement, it's nice, slow, and controlled. When you go too fast on these movements that put your shoulders or any part of your body in a compromising position, that's where the risk of injury is. Also, if you push past where you know your body can go. I just go to a place where I feel comfortable. You know, once you've been in the calisthenics game or just been in the movement game long enough, you get to have a certain knowledge of self over your body, and you know how far you can push the limits. But along with pushing the limits, you need to make sure that your technique is on point, because when you have a flawed technique and you're pushing too far, that's where you get into some major trouble. All right, so the next exercise that we're doing here is called a Bulgarian dip. So another one of my goals, which is a new goal, is to be able to do the wide ring muscle up. One of the accessory movements, which is a push progression to the wide ring muscle up, is to be able to become proficient at the Bulgarian dip. You know, it's funny, I actually deleted the video of the first set that I did on this exercise because my form wasn't correct. I did the first set and it didn't really feel as difficult as I remember Bulgarian dips being. So what I did was I went on YouTube, searched up Bulgarian dip tutorial, and I looked at maybe about 5 different Bulgarian dip tutorials, and this was the form that I came up with. And, you know, I think I did a pretty good job at strict form on these Bulgarian dips. But again, this is a new movement for me, and also it's a difficult movement. So as you guys can see, I'm moving through this movement slow and controlled. If I was to go too fast on this movement, I'd be putting my shoulders at a very, very compromised state. The Bulgarian dip is no joke. I'm actually making this voiceover the next day, and my shoulders are more sore than they've been in months, maybe even in the past year. I remember the last time I tried doing Bulgarian dips, or the last time I did some Bulgarian dips, I actually felt some shoulder pain, but I think that was more so because I wasn't ready to start training the Bulgarian dip. All right, so this next exercise is a ring support hold fly. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm getting into a ring support hold, supinating that hand grip, and then I'm doing some mini flies. So again, I'm just going as far as my body feels comfortable going. I'm not pushing the limit. I'm not trying to get into an iron cross. I'm not putting myself in a compromised position. And to be completely honest with you, and to be completely honest with myself, I actually could have cleaned this form up a little bit. I don't know if you guys can peep, but this is a straight arm exercise, and my left arm is slightly bent. So that's something I'm going to have to correct the next time I go out and do these ring support flies. And the thing about seeing flaws in your technique is that, you know, this is what the game tape is for. And as you guys can see right here, I ended up chopping it up with this street photographer, cool ass dude. His Instagram handle, I think, is Johnny's.not.real. Check him out. We chopped it up for a second. He took a couple photos of me, taking some photos of the people in the park, and then he actually wanted to jump on the rings and see what it do.
Cameraman out here getting money. Oh, hey, what's your
Johnny's not real. Follow me.
Johnny's dot not real on Instagram. Check him out
for the 6 street photos. Hell yeah.
Yeah, photographer out here getting calisthenics ring money.
Hell yeah.
Good
All right,
shit, brother.
Have a good one, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Interactions like that one is one of the main reasons why I like training outdoors at parks. You just get to meet random strangers, and you end up chopping it up with a bunch of interesting people. It's funny. I actually ended up running into a subscriber at the park as well, and me and him, you know, had a nice conversation about travel, training, and life in general. And right before I ended up talking to one of my subscribers at the park, this little youngster came up to me, and he was about 10 years old. He came up to me and was like, "Hey, do you know who Payday J is?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's my boy." And then he was like, "Yeah, I saw you in this video." And, you know, he was just like, "Are those his gymnastics rings?" And, you know, me and the little youngster started chopping it up. And it was just a cool-ass little interaction with the next generation. And he was telling me that Jay had taught him how to use the gymnastics rings. And, you know, he wanted to hop on the rings for a second, so I told him he can have at it. But, you know, this is the type of vibe that you get at a park, at a calisthenics park, or even, you know, there is some calisthenics set up at this park, but this is just on a random basketball hoop, on a random basketball court. But anyways, the next exercise that I did is the ring pelican curl. And the ring pelican curl is actually more of a bicep focused exercise. You could turn this into a ring pelican push-up and do a press at the top, but I chose to just focus on the biceps and focus on the front delt. So you're going to get a lot of front delt activation. You're going to get a lot of bicep activation on the pelican curls. Following exercise right here is ring tricep extensions. And with these ones, this is one of the best exercises that you can use to isolate your triceps. You know, when it comes down to my own training for myself and also when I'm training my clients, there's really only two exercises that are go-tos for me when it comes down to tricep isolation. One of them is this ring tricep extension, and the other one is a dumbbell tricep extension laying down on a bench, which makes the movement very difficult as well. A little bit easier to progressive overload using the dumbbells, but the rings just feel great. And if you want convenience, mobility, and you want the freedom to take your workout to a park or even do it at the house, do them on the gymnastics rings. But another thing, when it comes down to movements like pelican curls, or when it comes down to tricep extensions, or even the movement that I'm going to be doing after this, which is ring push-ups with the turnout, you really just want to make sure that you're going for legit range of motion, and you want to make sure you're nice and controlled, especially when you're doing them on the gymnastics rings, because stability and control is everything on the gymnastics rings. And you want to make sure that your form is on point. You want to feel every muscle that's supposed to be engaged during the movement. So on a movement like pelican curls, if I don't feel my biceps getting a nice stretch, then I know I'm not doing the movement correctly. On the tricep extensions, if I don't feel those triceps burning at the top of the movement, then I know that I'm not doing the movement correctly. On movement like these incline push-ups with the turnout at the top, if I don't feel that chest activating when I'm turning the rings out at the top of the movement and squeezing my chest, then I know that my mind and my body are not connected. So form is everything. Technique is everything, especially when it comes down to a modality of training like the gymnastics rings. But anyways, guys, if you guys are just now starting your calisthenics journey, if you just now are starting your journey with the gymnastics rings, go to my website, hybridathlete40.com, take the intake assessment, book a consultation with me. I'm coming out with a beginner gymnastics rings program, so that might be a good fit for you. Also, one-on-one online coaching might be a good fit for you as well if you want something a little bit more tailor-made for where you're at and where your level is at the moment. If you guys just want to learn through watching YouTube videos, I highly recommend that you subscribe to my channel. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys got some value from this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. I'd love to have you a part of my online community. Drop a comment in the comment section letting everybody know where you're tuning in from and a little bit about your calisthenics background. I hope everybody's having a great day out there. I'll holler at you guys later. Peace.